We've been in need of another Autobot in our ranks, not another child.
Look, RC, I was wrong.
We've been in need of another Autobot in our ranks, not another child.
Look, RC, I was wrong. And I'm sorry. Again. And if you need to kick me off Team Prime...
Disregard for human safety, or anyone's safety, will not be tolerated. Do you understand?
Fully, sir.
We must never lose sight of the fact that upon this earth, we are Titans, and such power must be used wisely.
So tell me, Optimus, do you intend to take me alive, or end this here and now?
Prime has recently proven he's willing to go further than ever to protect humanity. Optimus Prime is a true patriot. He and his team continue to risk their lives day in and day out, asking absolutely nothing in return.
If you don't survive, Optimus, I fear neither will this planet.
Very well.
The simple fact is, Prime doesn't have a bad circuit in his body.
Move it, Gramps!
Agent Fowler, is that really necessary?
As liaison to the Autobots, I strongly caution that now would be the worst time to call Prime's dedication into question.
What's the matter? What's the matter, Chip?
I guess I was hoping Devastator might join the Autobots for good, but that's probably just a dumb old dream.
Hang on to your dreams, Chip. The future is built on dreams. Hang on.
StreamYards. Alright. StreamYard's being fucking weird today. I don't know what's going on, but hi, how's it going? We're back for another draw stream / discussion stream because I got something to say about this. Well, as you can guess by the Transformers trailer, I'm gonna kind of ink up this Optimus Prime sketch I started on my way to work a couple days ago, and I got some things to say about it. I have a lot of issues with the trailer, and the main thing I have an issue with is the way they are portraying Optimus Prime, which is why I just showed off those 3 clips that kind of identifies who the character is at its core, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first off, I want to say I had a CJ from Rebel Inc. Good to see you. Worst part about Transformers, the friggin' here. You know, I don't really have an issue with human characters in Transformers stories. It's not a deal breaker at all to have human characters because they've been in the franchise for the longest time. It's more when they become the center focus of the story, like they were in the Michael Bay films, where I have an issue with it. Where it's like they become the main sort of driving force of a Transformer story, which really shouldn't be the case. The main characters should be the Autobots and Decepticons. That should be the foundation. I think that whole war between the Autobots and Decepticons should be the main foundation of your story, not Shia LaBeouf, trying to get laid with Megan Fox, and now Transformers can show up. It's like no, it's about Transformers. It's about the robots kicking the shit out of each other in a big ass war for energy and all that stuff. So, but also it's supposed to have a lot of heart and soul. There's a lot of that in the original cartoon, as well as other shows that did the characters in the world properly. So, and hi Lisa, good to see you. And yeah, let's just dive right into this little discussion here. So where do we begin? So basically, the trailer. Obviously, I'm not going to play the trailer here because I'm not really interested in corrupting my computer with that horribleness. But I started off the stream basically saying that, yeah, I have a really big issue with the way they're kind of portraying Optimus Prime in this movie, or at least in the trailer from what I've seen. But what they showed me was enough for me to know that they're going to get this character wrong. And that scene was the part where he manhandles the human character, where he, shows up and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, just being an asshole. And everyone who knows the franchise knows Optimus Prime would never do that. He would never manhandle someone. He would never be bitter. Like he definitely seems like a very bitter Optimus Prime from what we're kind of seeing from the trailer. They're kind of going back to the Michael Bay route for him, and it just doesn't sit right with me. So yeah. And also there's the line in the trailer where he kind of talks about, "Oh, this is not our war," and it's just like, nope, it's not Optimus Prime. Because he's not someone who's going to back, because his whole mission is to protect humanity, because the Autobots lost their own homeworld, and they've inhabited this new one, Earth, and so they are going to do everything in their power to protect it. That's what their job is. That's what their mission is, and that's what it's always been since the franchise has been around. Like that was the first thing that they were doing in the original cartoon, and that's kind of being lost in this this trailer here. But a lot of this stuff I saw it kind of coming a while ago. I've already had issues with this movie from the very get-go, but that was one thing. Those two things really just stand out to me as being very noticeable in terms of things they got wrong with it. Yeah, Optimus equals Superman equals Captain America. Goodies to the end. Painfully. Exactly. It's like, but it just kind of speaks to this whole deconstruction, nihilistic sort of culture we're in now with superheroes in general, where it's like we just want to make everyone has to be dark and edgy, because there cannot be innately good heroes anymore. They have to be muddied up in order to be interesting, I guess, according to these people. And that simply just isn't the case. You don't need to make Luke Skywalker or Optimus Prime or Superman or any other aspirational, hopeful characters darker than they need to be. You can have dark things happen to them. You can put them through dark times, but you should never make them internally darker beings. They should always be positive, hopeful, heroes who always do the right thing, no matter the circumstances, no matter, what trauma they face. They always need to come out on top. And that starts by being a good person. And that's what Optimus Prime has always been portrayed as. He's always been kind of that fatherly figure. He's always been kind of that, that guy you can always turn to, who's always reliable, who's always going to be there, who's always going to be, on your side. And that's not what we got from this trailer, I don't think. As well as some of the things that Stephen Caple Jr. kind of said about their version of Optimus Prime a couple of years ago. In an interview, he kind of talked about how, his Optimus Prime, he's going to be kind of butting heads with Optimus Primal. He's going to be kind of, apprehensive about protecting humanity, which is another big red flag for me. Because, no, Optimus Prime doesn't even question whether or not he should protect somebody or humanity in this case. It's like, yeah, I understand they're curious and trying to see and to figure out what makes a person tick and how they became the people they are. But SJWs are trying to really deconstruct. They're trying to destroy. Yeah, exactly. Like it's not even deconstruction at this point. It's just destruction. They just want to tear down everything these characters stand for, and that's wrong. Like it's important to have these ideals represented in these characters. Hey, Retro Collective, how's it going, man? Good to see you. And actually, before we get started, really going deep into the trailer, I actually kind of want to put up a poll here, because I've actually been teasing this little project, this little Lego building project that I've been kind of teasing on Twitter. I'll put a poll up, and we'll kind of, I'll let you guys kind of guess what it is, because I've been kind of teasing what I've been building, or not what I've been actually physically building, but what I will be building once I get the parts in. So I'm going to take a little detour from this little discussion, and I'll just kind of get the poll set up, and you guys can kind of guess what we're going to be cooking up, because I will be streaming the actual build process of what I'm actually working on. So I just want to take a little detour real quick, and at the end of the stream, I will reveal what it is I'm building. So I've been kind of teasing it for a little bit on both Twitter as well as in like YouTube chats and stuff like that. So I'll keep it simple. So let's see. Go like this. So all right, those are your guesses. You can get in here, and if you get it right, you win. I'll ship it out to you to the top. Sucks to hear that, man. Your job is as hopefully you get me ruler, so to speak. Vote for me. Yeah, I gotta stay away from the alley review. Let's get these lines laid in here, so to speak. Let's go with that. But yeah, like I was saying, kind of going back into the road of deconstructing heroism. It's brought the time really long time. Really started because to have that and maybe because he's I guess and Prime can get brutal at times, not overly excessive. That's where you kind of want for me. They had Prime like outright just murdering Decepticons, a lot more brutal ways that Prime just wouldn't really do circumstances. He's just kind of going against all of his values and whatnot, because but this in particular, Netflix was talking about Prime, but trying to stay on top. All right. But yeah, so yeah, those two scenes in particular, where he's he's kind of guys about protecting humanity or getting involved in this war against Unicron, which is going to be still on this. Be deceiving us. We know how trailers are nowadays. But yeah, Unicron real quick. Shot in a trailer where you see Unicron approaching Earth, like that was kind of cool. That was pretty cool to see. However, is due soon to do Unicron, because he's the big he's supposed to be the Thanos of the Transformer. He's supposed to be the big threat the Transformer faced, and at all, this been done. Stories because you need to establish a lot of stuff before you really like that. Before you go deep on, and you know, for me, you saw a glimpse of his eyes, and I'm a eyes good view. Yeah. Okay. Too soon to be on. You just kind of save him for this new sort of back and fit with is because the Multiverse is toxic, not transformed at all. Good to see you. From the street back. Oh, God. All right. Refresh the page. I'll come right. I think we're having some issues here on the All right, I should be back now. Not too sure what's going on there. All right, we should be back now. I don't know what the fuck was that all about. But we're here. So, what are we talking about? Oh, yeah, we're talking about Unicron. So, yeah, it does seem very, very early on to really do him as a character. Welcome back. Thank you. And, yeah, and so I'm not too sure what they're going to do with him. Now, it could be just like they're maybe just going to be doing he's going to have a small, brief presence in the film. He's not going to, I'm not too sure what they're doing with him, honestly. It's like, because he's already coming to Earth. They're showing him coming to Earth, but that could also be like a flashback or some sort of vision. All right, you can hear me now, All right, that's good. But yeah, that could possibly be like a flashback or a vision, and maybe they're just trying to, and then maybe the film is about something else. Who knows? But yeah, it does seem very early on to do Unicron, even still. Because if they beat Unicron at the end of this movie, it's like, well, it's like they're just gonna make him a joke throughout the entire film. He's gonna be Darth Maul all over again because it's like he's just gonna get beat every single film he's in. It's like it's Unicron. Like it's like no, it's an event type film. Like you have to beat him once. You know what I mean? It's just dumb if they go that route. And you just get this chesticles, so to speak, done. All right, that should be good. Yeah, look at his eyes real quick before we move on to the torso. But yeah, it definitely seems weird that they're doing Unicron. And there are actually rumors that Megatron is supposed to have an appearance in the film, some sort of cameo, which I'm not too sure what that's going to entail, if it's going to be like a flashback scene, because we did see, because there is still that scene for, from the Bumblebee movie where we see Prime. Well, it's really unclear how Prime got out of that situation he was in on Cybertron when he was fighting all those Decepticons and stuff like that when they came down and attacked him. So I'm not too sure what's going on with that. So it could be where Megatron kind of appears, maybe in the flashback to that. Who knows? But one thing I would theorize maybe is that he'll probably, if he does show up in a flashback or in a end credit scene, it'll probably be, gosh, I don't know if they will do this, but they could possibly do the Unicron, the scene where from the '86 movie where Unicron takes Megatron and turns him into Galvatron. Like that could possibly be a thing at the end of this movie, which would also be stupid because you haven't developed Megatron in this new universe yet, so that'd be stupid as well. So it'd mostly just be done for member berries, obviously, as well, which this film is definitely going to be playing on. It's definitely going to be playing on nostalgia. It's like, oh, did you see we're going to have Unicron in this movie. You remember Unicron, right? It's like, yeah, we do, but we remember that Unicron was scary in the original cartoon, because he was dead ass fucking scary, Unicron, in the '86 movie, where he wiped out that entire freaking planet and that whole species at the very start of the film. Like, he was not someone to play with. So he's basically a god at that point. He's basically a god transformer, so to speak. It's all powerful. So I kind of fucked that up. I'll have to fix that later. You can never get the headlights on Prime's chest here, right? They always look weird for me. Let's go with that. Yeah, that's one thing I could see them possibly doing, is if they do the whole Galvatron transformation scene like in the '86 movie. Which, I mean, I guess it would be cool to see on film. It's just like it's too early to show stuff like that. It's too early to do stuff like that. You have to really show the War on Earth before you ever do Unicron like that, because the War on Earth is a very big pivotal part of the Transformer story. That was the entire original G1 cartoon, was the War on Earth. Like, that was the whole thing about it. So you can't just like gloss over that like it's nothing. It's like, no, it's a very significant part of the war between the Autobots and Decepticons, because that was in the '86 movie. That was the end of the war. that was showing like the end of the war and then the beginning of the new war with, you know, with Galvatron and Rodimus Prime and whatnot. Like this new generation of Autobots and Decepticons that came about in the cartoon. I just split them down the middle. Let's see, I know I should have something that's small enough here. I think I'm maybe using one of these guys for the windows, but I don't think it's going to be small enough, so to speak. Yeah, I don't think so. All right. Well, we could. Let's see, we're going to thin one here. Hold on. All right. We'll do this instead. That's just too. I want to go for like a rounded sort of edge to the tips here, to the corners of the thing here. So we'll start them right here. Actually, I kind of end. I need to mark my end point for the window, so I'll bring it in just a little bit. I was going to mark it with the pencil here. There. That's what I'm going for. Get out of my way. All right. So, yeah, so that's it for my thoughts on the whole using Unicron this early on. So obviously, I've kind of talked about this before on my streams, but I'll talk about the Beast Wars stuff. Now, I'm not really the biggest Beast Wars fan myself. I've always been more of a G1 guy. Like those were my characters. Like I was more attached to the G1 Transformers, the Autobots, Decepticons, you know, Optimus, Megatron, Bumblebee, Ironhide. All those guys were my jam. So, and you know, whenever I tried watching Beast Wars, I just couldn't really get into it. It's just like I just miss my guys. You know, I miss my Autobots and Decepticons, so it just wasn't really right to me. Nothing against the show personally. I never really fully watched it. I can never really get into it, but from my understanding, it is very, very good. And so I'm not going to try and take that away from it. And yeah, hold on. Okay, let's do that. So, but it seems like, from my understanding, but from my friend Lethal Lightning, as well as Mara Jade on YouTube, they did not like any of the Beast Wars stuff. They think they got the designs wrong and all that. And definitely seems like they're doing weird things with the actual story elements of the Beast Wars characters. So I can definitely sympathize with them on that level because I understand fully what that feels like. Although we all probably could understand that at this point. So we all have franchises that are being destroyed in front of our eyes that we've held dear for a long time. I think I kind of fucked that up. Actually, no, it's fine. That'll work. All right. But yeah, it definitely seems like the Beast Wars characters are a lot bigger as well than they should be. I personally don't really have a problem with the actual designs of the Beast Wars. I think they're not too bad. At least, I mean, some people didn't like Air Razor. Way her design looked, but I don't really mind them as much as others might. But they are a lot bigger than they should be. Because in the original Beast Wars cartoon, they were a lot smaller than the original Transformers race. Like the original Transformers like towered over them. But which I kind of liked better because it kind of gives them sort of this larger than life sort of persona. Like, oh, what am I doing with this? Hold on. Like that. Luckily, this is just the early stages of my inking process. I'll be typing this up in the colored version at some point. When I do a colored version, because I have a lot of stuff to color up. Lots to do. Gotta finish up my Avengers piece as well. But yeah, so the Beast Wars stuff now, obviously implementing Beast Wars, I think, is a mistake at this point as well. Not that I'm against them doing a Beast Wars film, but I think that they should have just done 2 separate films entirely. Like, this is my whole. I've kind of talked about this before, but yeah, I think they should have done a Beast Wars film and a G1 Transformers film separate. Just because I think that it would, because like in this film, it definitely seems like there's gonna be way too much stuff going on. You know, they're making a brand new human cast. They have a brand new Autobot cast. You know, they're introducing new characters and stuff like that. And so it's like you need to really sit down and develop these characters before you really go and do all these crossover events and whatnot, before you have this big team up film or whatever, you know. Like, it just doesn't really work for me. And not just that, it doesn't really work with the Beast Wars story, just because Beast Wars, from my understanding, it was meant to be sort of a time paradox story, like where it's like, because the characters come from the future, right? They come from the future to stop Megatron from doing what he's doing in the past, because he wants to kind of prevent the Autobots from winning the war before. Like, he wants to make sure the Decepticons win the war for Cybertron. And one of the things he was trying to do, from my understanding, was that he was trying to kill off all of humanity, like prevent humanity from ever growing, or rather evolving, so that they could, because Megatron, the Beast era Megatron, kind of discovered that, you know, the humans were kind of a weakness for, or rather were a strength for the Autobots. Like, they kind of, you know, developed a strength with them, and he decided that, you know, if I take them out of the equation, the Decepticons will win the war, because the Autobots relied a lot on the humans element, because they had a lot of the human allies and whatnot on their side, and so. And so that was kind of why they went back in time and whatnot. But here it seems like they're coming back in time because they are trying to prepare for, I guess, Unicron. Like, maybe in their timeline, Unicron destroyed their world or something. I'm not too sure how they're going to go about doing that. But there is rumors they are trying to use time travel to kind of, you know, tie this into the Michael Bay films, which is another red. It's like, no, stop trying to tie it into Bay. Bay films suck. Nobody wants that. We want G1. We want classic Beast Wars and G1. Like, we just want them to be the way they were in the original stories and stuff like that. That's all the fans want. But they can't give it to us because they are dickheads. It's plain and simple, yeah, in my opinion. But yeah, so I'm not going to talk too much about Beast Wars, but yeah, it just doesn't really seem like they're going to be, because like if you have all these characters in the film, like you have, like I said, they're going to have Predacons, Terracons, Autobots, Decepticons, Maximals, all in this film, Unicrons in this film, new human cast. Like, it's just like there's like too much going on, and they need to pare it down and just make it a very, very simple story, not just overblow it with too many characters and too many subplots and whatnot, you know, like, yeah. And as we've seen in the past, Transformers movies never end well when you have too much shit going on, you know. All right. Okay, I think we got all the ink sort of outlined now, so we can kind of go in and tidy it up. Or him up, because we don't want to call him an it. He's Optimus Prime. Gotta show him some respect. Even though I am a Decepticon at heart, I will always show respect to my boy. I thought the main focus was Unicron, though. Well, yeah, but they have so many different characters in this film now, because they're going to have Terracons, Predacons, Maximals, Autobots, New Human Cast. Like, I just feel like there's too much going on for them to really have a very coherent story. That's kind of like my issue with it. And it's a little bit too early, like I said, because it's supposedly supposed to be a reboot, but not. It's all just like all over the place. And they don't really seem to know what they're doing. All right. And it's also like just way too soon to do Unicron at this stage, because Unicron's supposed to be a very, very big threat, and if you have him killed off at the end of this film, it's just going to kind of make them look weak, because they are trying to plan a trilogy of films with all this stuff here. I assume that's what I heard from, anyways. But that could just be a rumor. Not too sure. But if they are planning a trilogy, they are going about it the wrong way. I think they need to step back and get back to the drawing board, because they apparently don't know how to do anything useful. So I wouldn't be surprised if they brought back Megatron back as a herald. Well, in this film, Scourge, that main Decepticon or Terracon in the film, is going to be Unicron's herald, which Scourge was a herald in the original lore, but he was a different design, different sort of character. Like, he was more of a minion for Galvatron to command. He was basically Thundercracker turned into Scourge. He was reformatted just like Megatron was turned into Galvatron. That was a prequel. Well, okay, so basically Bumblebee, the Bumblebee, so this is obviously a sequel to Bumblebee, and this was kind of meant to be Bumblebee was originally meant to be a prequel to the original 2007 film. However, because it was being developed at the same time Transformers 5 was coming out, that sort of changed the plans, because Transformers 5, TF5 kind of failed at the box office, so they had to kind of change plans. And so they kind of made Bumblebee sort of a reboot and sort of in continuity type of deal, even though it doesn't make any sense to be in continuity, because there's a lot of the errors that there would be. So Bumblebee was it seemed so like the theatrical cut of Bumblebee was intended to be a reboot from all accounts. However, it seems like they're trying to go back into being in continuity with the Michael Bay verse, which is a big red flag if that's the case. I need some water. Hold on. But yeah, it gets confusing, because the production of Bumblebee was very all over the place behind the scenes, from what it sounds like. But all right. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do the whole Galvatron transformation scene at the end of this film. So now they are two parallel timelines, but Bumblebee is the root of No. So Bumblebee was intended as a film. It was originally meant to be part of the Michael Bay verse, like a prequel to the first Transformers movie. However, because Transformers 5 failed at the box office, they had to kind of they went back and reshot the film. They added some extra scenes, that's how we got the G1 stuff in the first place. In that opening scene was they were like, okay, we need to, because we've killed off. I don't know. I'm not too sure how the thought process was, but I'm guessing it has something to do with the fans. Not really, because obviously the G1 fans were kind of sick of the Michael Bay films, and the only reason they were making money was because of the normies and whatnot, or what have you. And if normies and the fans are not, buying your product, then you got to take a step back a bit, And so I'm guessing that had something to do with the thought process. I'm not really a business expert on that end, but they kind of went back, reshot the film, added some new scenes, and kind of made it appear as though it was kind of a reboot, like it was kind of a soft reboot of the franchise, if you will. And so that's how Bumblebee started, and now it seems like Bumblebee this movie is supposed to kind of is trying to undo a lot of Bumblebee's stuff, I suppose. But it's like there's a lot. It's really confusing. It's really fucking confusing. I have no idea what they're doing. But but yeah, they do go ahead and do this whole thing where maybe like it's a time paradox thing where the Bumblebee verse was I don't know. It's so fucking confusing. Like it's like honestly, time travel shouldn't really be a big factor in a Transformer story to begin with, too. Like, because that was only like a Beast Wars thing. Like in G1, there was never really any stories of time travel or any parallel universe stuff. That stuff came afterwards. Which I mean, not to say you can't do one at some point, but that shouldn't really be the heart of the Transformer story. Yeah, and they should they should just done a full-on reboot. They should just completely distance themselves from Michael Bay. Just that's why I kind of say just like make this film just a very back to basics approach to Transformers. Just go back to make it a very simple story about Autobots versus Decepticons. Stick with the main human cast you had from Bumblebee if you must, or just introduce the original human characters from G1, Spike and Sparkplug, and Carly and all them. Like you could do that instead if you wanted to, or do both, whatever. But yeah, it just seems that they're doing a lot of things wrong with this film. A lot of things are being, it's all over the place. It's just all over the place. Like send me over to Paramount and I will fix their problems. That's like, yeah. But yeah, so I'm not really looking forward to this film at all. It seems like a big jumbled mess waiting to happen. So. And it would make sense if they are trying to reconnect it to Michael Bay's universe, because Michael Bay is producing this film. He actually has been seen on set actually for the film numerous times. So there is rumors that he is coming. So that could probably play a major factor into the future of these movies, which is not looking so good. All right. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird what they're doing. I have no idea what they're trying to accomplish. In terms of designs, I guess we'll kind of talk about some of the Autobot designs. Mirage looks weird. Bumblebee, he looks fine, I guess. I've kind of gotten used to the Bumblebee movie design for him, but I would prefer if they gave him the G1 head design, like the head mold and whatnot. I think that would be better. I think the RC looks kind of good, even though her colors are kind of wrong. Like she's supposed to be like bright pink and white, not like red and white. So, but whatever. Like her design looks good. I like the little goggles that she has like on. That's kind of cool. Prime looks good for the most part. They got. Although I don't like the face plate on him. I don't like the mouth at all. It's really the mouth that really bothers me because it's like it just hangs so low on his chin. Like it hangs like way down here on his mouth where it just looks awkward. When the mouth should be a little bit further up, like a good inch or so, like right about there. Because Transformers do have very much human proportions. Like if you kind of put a nose right here. Like this is how it should look, but they made it so where the mouth is like way down here. It's like, how's it going, guys? This is like, get that shit out of here. It's like if you're gonna give Prime a mouth, at least make him look handsome or make him look good. You know, not handsome, but you know what I mean. But it's like it looks weird. Wheeljack looks like fucking dog shit still. I have no idea what they are thinking. And that thing should be thrown into the trash can as soon as possible. I hope he gets killed off in the movie. Because that is not Wheeljack at all. And it's so stupid, too, because they got the design for Wheeljack so fucking right in the Bumblebee movie. Like, he looked fucking awesome in that movie. And then he turns into this piece of shit that we see. And he's the one that turns into that stupid van, which should be Ironhide or Ratchet, but whatever. Oh no, he does. Ironhide and Ratchet, they were seen in the Bumblebee movie. Ratchet, Ironhide, because in the Bumblebee movie, there's a whole action scene on Cybertron, and you see a bunch of Autobots there, and you see Brawn, you see Ironhide, you see Cliffjumper, Ratchet, RC, Wheeljack, Bumblebee, and Prime. They're all there on that scene, so they do exist in this universe. So. So, and it's like you have the van, but you don't have, that's something I've talked about as well. Is like they have a van, but it's not going to be Ironhide or Ratchet. It's like, not that I'm necessarily against them, making new car designs for the characters, but it's just like, if you're going G1 with Prime, it's like what? Why would you have a van if you're not going to make it Ironhide or Ratchet, in the film? It's just like, it's weird. And they made the Porsche Mirage instead of Jazz, because Jazz was the Porsche. So it's just a bunch of weird decisions like that that just kind of throw me off, and it just makes no sense to me. But my throat's getting fucking dry. Well, they didn't show Ironhide and Ratchet getting killed. They were just in a big action scene. They were shown kind of going from Cybertron to Earth. Like, they were kind of shown escaping, going off in the escape pods. Now, maybe they did get killed off screen. That's why they don't see them. Because at the end of the Bowie movie, they did show like 7 Autobot asteroids coming to Earth, or escape pods coming to Earth. And we don't really see them now in this movie for whatever reason, because it's only going to be the 5 of them apparently. So maybe they get killed off. Because this movie does take place in the 90s, and Bowie was in the 80s, so maybe there could have been something that happened to them off screen, off camera, which would suck, because you don't screw with my boy Ironhide. All right, Ironhide was my homeboy in the original cartoon. I loved Ironhide as a character. I love my old war veteran Autobot. He's all grizzled and all, been through shit. Like, that's my guy. I'm using the wrong marker. Hold on. And so you don't mess with my guys like that. It was a mistake to kill him off in the 86 movie, and it's a mistake to kill him off now if they do that again. For a third time now, because he died in the Michael Bay films too. Which, surprisingly, Ironhide was probably the better character. I think he was probably my favorite character out of all the Autobots, because he's the only one that got kind of right in those movies. But yeah. All right, we'll kind of leave a little bit of a light sort of shadow or casting on the plate there or whatever. But yeah. But Cliffjumper got killed off in the Bumblebee movie. Spoiler alert, he got killed off very early on in the film. Which also sucked, because I love Cliffjumper too. But we're not going to get into that. So yeah, designs look off. It seems like, and obviously and they're also going to be bringing in Nightbird for this film, which is not going to be Nightbird at all, because Nightbird in the original cartoon, she was basically, because she's that one she's the Terracon that you see sort of flying around in the trailer with the purple on and all that. However, in the original cartoon, she wasn't actually a Cybertronian. She was actually a human-built robot who was inspired by the Transformers, by a Japanese company, which, yeah, obviously it had to be Japan who made it. But yeah, the Decepticons kind of found her, and they kind of reprogrammed her into being a Decepticon, and she was kind of tasked with infiltrating the Autobot base to get some plans that Megatron was after or something. But in this film, it's going to be a completely different character, so it's not going to be the same sort of deal. And she's like a ninja bot too. She was a really cool character as well. She didn't transform though. That was the thing. And she only really, in the cartoon, she only really appeared that one time. But there have been other media that has kind of gone and made her do different things over the years. But I can't remember. I think they made like clones of her in the IDW, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like a whole army of Nightbirds or something in that one. But I don't really know a whole. I've only known only know a little bit about IDW stuff because or read IDW stuff because it's really hard to find a lot of that stuff in comic book shops nowadays because they only have like some of the newer books, which I'm not really into. But I'm aware of a lot of different things about IDW Transformers books. So, got the knowledge, just not the. Haven't really gone out of my way to read a whole lot of them yet. Just a select few books from that era. But yeah, so like I don't think they're gonna get Nightbird right. Which actually there was actually kind of a theory that some fans kind of posed was that, well, what if because Shatter, the red female Decepticon in the Bumblebee movie, was kind of her design actually was based off of Nightbird by Travis Knight. He kind of based her off of him, off of Nightbird, and so a lot of fans kind of said that, well, what if Nightbird was like, what if some human organization or something like that like took Nightbird or Shatter's remains and kind of transformed her into a robot that they could personally control and stuff like that, and turn her into like Nightbird or whatnot. Like that was kind of a cool idea. I actually liked, but I don't know. And well, I kind of talked about Scourge. Let's see. I'm not going to really talk about the individual Maximals because I'm not really. I don't really feel comfortable discussing them because I'm not too sure how accurate they are to the character, their original counterparts. So I'm just going to leave that to people like Lethal Lightning to kind of give their opinion on, even though they're not here. But yeah. And one of the things I'm not really liking is the idea that Optimus Prime, because Stephen Campbell Jr. kind of said a while ago that him and Prime are going to kind of butt heads, like they're not going to really get along very well, which doesn't really sit right with me at all either. Oh, motherfucker. Because the whole idea that Optimus would, butt heads with another leader, would be having beef with someone else, it doesn't work for me at all. Optimus Prime is always meant to be level-headed. He's always meant to have a cool head on his shoulders, It would make more sense if like some of the other Maximals and Autobots were bickering or, making fun of each other or something like that. Like that'd be fine. Like that makes more sense because they're not as matured as Optimus or Primal would be. But like Optimus would never be like that. He's not a very combative person. Like he's someone who's always trying to find peace. He's always the peacemaker of the team. So that doesn't really sit well with me at all either. So that whole idea. I think it'd be more fun to see like Bumblebee and like Cheetor like playing off each other and making fun of each other or something. I think that'd make more fun. Be more fun to see, which probably will be in the movie. But it's just like with a character like Optimus Prime, he doesn't really do that. He's very, like I said, very level-headed. He wouldn't really engage in that behavior. He's basically the father of the group. He's always the one that keeps everyone in check. He's like, hey, knock it off, boy. But yeah, that doesn't sit right with me. And this is something that Stephen Campbell Jr. said a while ago, and it seems like it's going to stay true in this film because we do see them kind of fighting the Maximals at different points in the trailer. Yeah, Optimus is always the one who breaks up fights. And there's a part in G1 actually where Brawn was kind of making fun of Perceptor because he was like, "Oh, Perceptor, you're a weak little bitch." I mean, he didn't say that, but he's kind of making fun of Perceptor for being a scientist and not really contributing as a warrior and whatnot because he thought he was kind of useless or whatever. There's a part where Prime is just like, "Look, Brawn, lay off Perceptor already." Like he just yells at him and stuff like that because he's like, "Look, I'm not going to tolerate bullies on my team." Like, Oof, just kind of fucked that up. No worries. I can fix the windows after. I'll thicken these lines. So I'm actually using a Tombow brush pen because it's really useful for inking. Because I really do like drawing these kinds of characters with very bold lines. So. Yeah, so not really looking forward to this film. Not too sure if I really have anything else to say about it. Story-wise, I have no idea what the story's going to be. I don't really care. Looks like another MacGuffin hunt story, which is typical of a Transformers movie nowadays. It's just find the MacGuffin, and which I mean I'm not really against MacGuffins in a storytelling perspective, but it just seems I don't know. But it just seems par for the course for what we've been expecting in Transformers films from Michael Bay and them, because it is Michael Bay's production, so he's still involved. And there's actually some people who are kind of say, "Oh man, I wish Michael Bay was back." He is back, motherfucker. He's producing the goddamn film. So it's like, make no mistake, Michael Bay is still involved. He's just in the corner somewhere, waiting to come back. I'm sure. Yeah, got the basic outline out now, or done now. Let's go in and detail them up. My 01. So along with the Bumblebee movie, or no, not the Bumblebee movie, the Rise of the Beast trailer, we also got news that we are getting a animated Transformers movie, which I've kind of known about for a while now. I've kind of heard there's been rumors about this for a while now in the Transformers fandom that they were going to be making an animated film directed by Josh Cooley, I believe, who I think did one of the Toy Story movies. So, and yeah. So, and they kind of came out recently with the casting list, which I think they have John Hamm as Sentinel Prime. They have Lawrence Fishburne as Alphatron, which I actually like. I actually like that casting. I think that works. That's going to be, I think he's going to do a really great job with that. They have Scarlett Johansson, who's going to be playing Alita 1, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with her as Alita 1, just as long as they keep to her character, her true values, because they kind of got her wrong in the Netflix series where they kind of made her a bitch. Like, because like Optimus Prime, Alita 1 in original cartoon was a very motherly, very respectful, very feminine type of character who in the Netflix series they kind of made her very bitchy, very annoying. So hopefully they don't continue that route with her. And they also, I can't remember who they cast as Bumblebee, but they cast Chris Hemsworth as Orion Pax, aka Optimus Prime, and which I don't know if he's actually going to be Orion Pax in this movie, which for those who don't know Transformers lore, Orion Pax was Optimus Prime's original name before he got rebuilt by Alpha Trion into Optimus Prime, or given his name by Primus when he in the aligned continuity lore, which I'll get to in just a minute. So I'm going to grab some drinks. Because I'm really using my voice today. So Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime. It's a weird casting decision, but I will hold judgment until I hear his voice. I hope he does a good job. I'm going to say that. Chris Hemsworth is definitely a good actor. I just don't know if he's really the right fit for the role. I think that it'd be better if they just had Peter Cullen come back. Hi, Mrs. Dadman. How's it going? Yeah. Well, I'm here to educate. I will try to explain the Transformers lore as best I can for newcomers to the franchise as much as I can. I try to explain it as best I can because I know I kind of figured out a while ago that it's like, yeah, I'm probably the biggest Transformers nerd in this sort of group we have here. So, not to toot my own horn by any means, but I do kind of have to reel myself back in and kind of explain things a bit. But from what they've been kind of talking about this film, it seems like they're going to be using a lot of the aligned continuity ideas for the franchise, like from the novels, the Prime cartoon, the games, as well as some IDW. Seems like it could be worked in as well, because it is going to be an origin film about Optimus Prime and Megatron, showing how they were once friends, but then they became enemies because they both were trying to fix the problems of the Cybertronian government, the Senate, the big Senate, because it was a very corrupt system in place. On Cybertron, there's a big class system in play, and so they were trying to kind of fight against that, but they kind of differed on the way to go about that change, and that's what kind of led to them sort of coming to war with one another and kind of becoming enemies and stuff like that. There's obviously more to it than that, but that's kind of the general gist. That's kind of how the aligned continuity version of the origin story about this Prime Megatron kind of went, and that's kind of what the Netflix series kind of used as well a little bit. But so yeah, and we're talking about the animated movie that was just announced, in case you missed it, Mrs. Admin. But yeah, Chris Hemsworth, I'm hoping he does a good job. I was just kind of here. Let me get some water because I have a lot of things to say. My throat is dying. All right. So yeah. But yeah, the reason why I'm really bummed out about Peter Cullen not reprising his role as Optimus Prime, the original G1 Prime, is because Peter Cullen himself has actually expressed interest in actually doing an Optimus Prime film. Like, he kind of said so at a at a convention a couple years ago, and he kind of talked about how he would be really down for an Optimus Prime movie because he really wanted to see the character portrayed in a way that was really true to his original form. He wanted a movie that really focused on his what made Optimus Prime so special, about his values, about his belief system and all that. He wanted a movie really all about that, and it's really just disheartening that we're not going to get that. We're not going to get Peter Cullen and Frank Welker back to do this movie, the original voice of Optimus Prime and Megatron, and countless others for Frank Welker, because he played like 100 characters in the original Transformers cartoon. So not 100 characters, but you know what I mean. He was obviously the voice of Megatron, Soundwave, and a bunch of others. But but yeah, it is kind of disheartening that Peter Cullen will not be returning as Optimus Prime for that. Now there is rumors that him and Frank Welker will be in the new game, the Transformers Reactivate video game that's coming out. So if they're saving them for that, then okay, I can probably live with it. But and it's not like they haven't had different voices for Optimus Prime over the years, because they have. But the one but everyone, I don't know. I kind of wish that this would be. I kind of wish that this would be like because they did bring back the original cast for the Transformers video game, the Devastation game. But I was kind of hoping that this would be the Transformer, their last big hurrah, their last big adventure. No, Corey Burton was Shockwave. Yeah, Corey Burton played Shockwave, not Soundwave. That was Frank Welker doing Soundwave, which he basically just used his Claw voice because he played Claw as well from Inspector Gadget. And he kind of used that Claw voice, which is kind of based on Barry White, I think. And then they just kind of used the computer effect to do the Soundwave, iconic Soundwave voice and whatnot. But yeah, hold on. My throat is just killing me. I've been coughing all day as well. So I'm gonna have a fun time at work tomorrow. But yeah, I was kind of hoping that this film would be sort of I was kind of hoping they would bring back the original G1 cast, as much as, because obviously a lot of the original G1 cast is kind of passed on now. Like a lot of them, like Chris Latta, Don Messick, Casey Kasem, they've all been, passed away for a while now. But there are still some people still left, like Peter Collin, Greg Berger, Frank Welker, Dan Gilveston, the original voice of Bumblebee, is still around. Corey Burton's still around. So I was kind of hoping that they would give them their last big sort of movie, the last big adventure before, passing the franchise down to the next generation of Transformers fans and new actors and whatnot. But that's just my personal beef with it, personally. But I am hoping that everyone, I don't know anything about the guy playing Megatron, so I'm hoping, that's a great point you made, Power. Because I actually suggested the exact same thing on Twitter, is that if they brought back either David Kaye or Gary Chalk to play Prime, because this is supposed to be a younger Optimus Prime in the film, and David Kaye actually played a young version of Optimus Prime in the Transformers animated cartoon. So I think that would have been really great to bring him back. Or Gary Chalk, because Gary Chalk did play Optimus Prime as well as Optimus Primal in the older cartoons, because he played Optimus in the Unicron trilogy, and he played obviously Optimus Primal in the Beast Wars stuff. So if anyone's going to replace Peter Cullen, it should be Gary Chalk or David Kaye. I think those two are the best options, in my opinion. But but if they are doing a younger version, like David Kaye would be great to see back. I really loved his take. He had he kind of reminded me of Captain America a little bit in the Transformers animated cartoon, because Transformers animated was a very different style, different sort of take on the G1 cartoon. Because it told a story about a younger Optimus Prime who's kind of learning still, but still has the core values of his original G1 cartoon version in place. Still, he was still very much Optimus Prime, even just a very younger version of that character. So, yeah, and I absolutely love Transformers animated. It's probably one of my favorite Transformers cartoons. Probably, gosh, it's really up there with Prime and G1 for me, honestly. Let's goodbye to Megatron's voice. I know, my voice is dying, dude. Yeah, it was hot out today too. It was very dry today, so it's getting. There's actually forest fires happening in the province, so it's kind of we get some. Gonna be getting a lot of dry air pretty soon. David Kaye and Corey Burton each has Megatron. Yep. And David Kaye is actually the first guy is the only guy I can think of who actually played both Optimus Prime and Megatron. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, Corey Burton was fucking amazing as Megatron in Transformers Animated. He was scary, he was cold, he was calculating, he was menacing, he was perfect as Megatron in that cartoon. Like, that'd be cool to bring him back as well as Megatron. That'd be cool. Like Corey Burton and David Kaye as Optimus and Megatron in this film. That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. Yeah. But yeah, so that's my main beef with it. I'm still interested in seeing it. I will have to see more and hear more about what they're doing with it. I hope they don't deconstruct these characters. I hope they get the characters right. I hope they don't make Megatron too sympathetic, because there is a sympathetic angle to Megatron's character depending on the version, but he needs to be clearly a villain by the end of the film. Like, you shouldn't like feel sorry for him in any way. Like, he's not supposed to be a sympathetic villain to the letter, essentially. Like, there should be, I think the Transformers Prime cartoon, I kind of talked about this on Twitter as well a couple days ago, but I kind of talked about how Transformers Prime really nailed it with Megatron, because they made him a lot more, he had he had, because they made it so that he had glimpses, some hints of possible goodness in him, but he's also, but you never forget that he's an evil bastard at the same time. You know, it's kind of like little hints here and there, and then they eventually do the ending of the series, which was the Rise of the, not the Rise of the Beast, the Beast Hunters animated film that was kind of meant as the series ending, where they did have the redemption sort of story with Megatron, where he kind of, where he basically was put through the same thing he put others through when he was, conquering everything. Because because in that movie he's basically under the influence of Unicron. Unicron's kind of taken over his body because he needs his body in order to bring his own back, or no, he's trying to use. It's kind of a confusing story. It's kind of confusing, but he's trying to basically use possessing Megatron's dead body in order to destroy Cybertron. Essentially, was the plot of that film. And he was mentally torturing Megatron in that film. That's what kind of makes Megatron sort of come back to his senses. Not come back to his senses, but kind of lose the will to continue the fight against the Autobots, because he's kind of lost taste for conquest. That's essentially how the story sort of ended. And it seemed like a more realistic way to have that character sort of go down a sort of redemption type of arc. So, and that's kind of like, I think that's the best way to kind of handle that sort of character, because he should still be an evil asshole, essentially. Like, Megatron is S-ho. So that's how he has to be. But yeah, my voice is cracking, so I'm probably going to wrap this up pretty soon. I got all the things I wanted to say out, I think, for the most part. Hopefully I was coherent enough, because my voice is just dying. But let me just pull up my YouTube. Actually, I need to pull something up real quick. Because I did promise to reveal what it is I've actually been building, or going to be building pretty soon, out of Lego. So, Mrs. Dadman, you better be watching, because this is just for you, because I know you love your Lego. So, you pull up the window, so to speak. All right, I'll have that on. Stand by. And hold on. Sure. And I'm just going to pull this up. I'll answer your question in just a minute, Power, but they haven't really decided, but they haven't really announced Starscream in either films. So, but let me just pull it up real quick. Here it is. All right. So this is the X-Mansion I've been building off camera for the past couple. I've been building this on Studio, which is basically a designer program that that Lego sort of made, or rather Bricklink made, and then Lego kind of bought out Bricklink, and so it's kind of a shared company. But this is what I'm building. I'm building the X-Mansion, so that's what I've been kind of building out to. I've been kind of teasing little bits here and there. Hey, Extra Zero, how's it going, man? Great to see you. Sorry, you're kind of catching the tail end of this stream. Hopefully you've been lurking, because I've kind of talked about all I need to talk about for the stream. But just to wrap it up, I am not looking forward to the new Transformers movie. So we'll just put it like that. Oh, you guessed correctly. Yeah, X-Men. Because I love my X-Men. Still be a Dorito. Will Starscream still be a Dorito? Kaplan production seems to have a hard on for bait. Yep, it definitely seems that way. Extra Zero. All right, just got here. Good. Yeah, I have to end the stream pretty quickly because my voice is pretty much dead. I gotta heal it up for tomorrow's shift. But yeah, we got a little bit of inks done on Prime here. So let me just take this off the screen for now. So we're kind of done showing that off. And I kind of based, I'll talk about the X-Mansion a bit. I kind of based this off of this design as well as the original X-Men, the animated series design right here. So I kind of based the design for the mansion. So yeah, I got a bunch of parts in. Still waiting for more, and I need to do one more order of one more batch of parts before I can finally go ahead and build this thing. So almost done. Almost got all the parts for it, and then we're gonna do an entire live stream where I build it. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, I guess I can stop now. I think I'm gonna wrap this up pretty soon. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining me on this little rant that I went on. Just kind of killed my voice, which thankfully I didn't get too angry. And well, I wasn't getting angry, so I can't really get angry at this point. The way things are now, I think that it's more fun just to laugh at them. Honestly, it's like I can't be mad anymore at how bad everything is. So. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, Mrs. Dadman. Yeah, no, lemon, honey. Well, I like lemon, so I might do that. Extra Zero, great to see you for the first time on my channel. Power, CJ, Corey, Retro Collective. And yeah, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. And I'll end us off on some of the clips that I started the stream on, and I will see you guys maybe this Saturday. I'm not too sure if I'll be streaming this Saturday, but I will be doing some more drop streams pretty soon. So yeah, on that note, I will see you guys all later. And yeah, take care, everybody.
We've been in need of another Autobot in our ranks, not another child.
Look, RC, I was wrong. And I'm sorry. Again. And if you need to kick me off Team Prime...
Disregard for human safety, or anyone's safety, will not be tolerated. Do you understand?
Fully, sir.
We must never lose sight of the fact that upon this earth, we are titans, and such power must be used wisely.
So tell me, Optimus, do you intend to take me alive? Or end this here and now?
Prime has recently proven he's willing to go further than ever to protect humanity. Optimus Prime is a true patriot. He and his team continue to risk their lives day in and day out, asking absolutely nothing in return.
If you don't survive, Optimus, I fear neither will this planet.
Very well.
The simple fact is, Prime doesn't have a bad circuit in his body. Move it, Gramps!
Agent Fowler, is that really necessary?
As liaison to the Autobots, I strongly caution that now would be the worst time to call Prime's dedication into question.
What's the matter? What's the matter, Chip?
I guess I was hoping Devastator might join the Autobots for good, but that's probably just a dumb old dream.
Hang on to your dreams, Chip. The future is built on dreams. Hang on.